Superman and Lois, episode 8, and wow, that was a really, really bad intro, but oh man, this is it. This is the best episode of the show so far. It could be better, but it's hard to top this, man. Like, this was literally perfect television. I don't think they've done an episode yet that balanced the stories so well, that gave every character their moment, their arc. Everything was handled so perfectly in this episode. It's really cool. Elizabeth Tulloch, I am telling you, she's the best Lois Lane. She has crossed it. She has become the best Lois. I really believe so. I don't think anybody can top her performance. This episode really did a lot for her. Showing her range as an actress, showing her range as Lois Lane, just proving that she could do this. And I'm just like, this is great. I want more of this. If the rest of the show can live up to this episode, we got the best Superman property on live action. I'm telling you right now. I hyped it up enough. Let's get into the episode. So a big part of this episode is pretty much after every ad break or every time we come back to a different act, we open up with Lois talking to a therapist, and she's explaining that she did something to someone in her life, and she said some things she can't take back, and she doesn't know if this person is going to be able to handle it or see her in the same light again, and it's breaking her emotionally. We'll get to who it is towards the end of it, but there's just a lot going on in this episode. We are setting up a lot of things for every single character. First off, Lois and Jonathan are going to investigate the RV to get some answers on this John Henry Irons guy, because Steele's in here now, so there you go, that's surprising. Sarah and Jordan are going to have a little, their little flirty thing going on, and that's going to involve some school auditions, because Sarah's like, well, maybe I should audition for the school play or the school talent show. Her dad's like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get to more stuff with Kyle the bit here. And then Clark is going to go to the DOD as Superman, and he's going to go help interrogate John Henry Irons. Let's start with that storyline, because it was very solid. We've been establishing for the past 7 episodes Clark and John Henry Irons are going to have some tension building up. It's like, you killed my wife. My daughter is dead because of you. We do see a flashback to how John Henry Irons got to this universe and how a Superman was trying to kill him on his way there. The tension is great. Just the way that, I'm just going to call him Steele. Steele's just playing up against, he's trying to get Sam to understand, this guy killed you in my timeline. You were my father-in-law. We actually have a connection here, I'm telling you. This guy, you should watch out for him. And we know that Sam already has these kryptonite weapons that he's just waiting to use on Clark if anything were to happen. Which I love that. The resolution of the using the actual kryptonite weapons when somebody tries to break out Steel from his prison, and they actually use the kryptonite weapons against Superman in order to stop him. I was like, that's great. And just it's just so good the way they end that with just Sam and Clark talking. Just I really hope that didn't have to use them on you. I was hoping I wasn't going to come to this, because these are lethal. And you just see Clark's I get it, but let's not sit here and lie to each other. You knew you're going to use them eventually. And Sam's just yeah, well, my job is to protect the world, not to protect my family. The difference between Clark and Sam right there. Oh, that's so good. It was so good, that moment. I loved everything about it. Steele in the prison, he's such a good character. I hope we see more of him down in some later episodes. It just worked perfectly, his interactions with Clark and Sam. I really enjoyed that. It was so good to see. It's just, this is it. This is how you do it. I mean, if you get to multiversal stuff, go down this route. We also learned the name of Steele and Lois' daughter from the other multiverse. Is it Natalie? I believe it was Natalie. And I want to come back to that in a bit here, because I'm oh, that's good. So let's talk about the Jordan and Sarah stuff, because it's pretty fun. We see they go to the talent show. We learn that Jordan used to play the piano, but nerves kind of stopped him from actually committing to it. Same kind of with Sarah when it came to singing. She was like, I can do it, but it's easier when there's people with me, and I'd like to try it, but I can't do it when there's people around me. So her father, again, I've said it before, I'm going to reiterate it here. I love the way they are handling Kyle Cushing, just because it could easily become he's going to be the bad guy for one episode of the week, but he's genuinely trying to be a good father, and he's messing up, which it's realistic. He can't do the right thing all the time. So I love it when he hears about the talent show. He's instantly just all right, I'm going to go get my guitar. I'm going to get some sheet music. We're going to figure out a song you're going to play. instantly. The guy plays guitar, he has a bunch of show tunes, he was waiting for this moment. I genuinely love that. So he's going to go visit Lana at her new job because there's a lot of tension there. He meets one of Morgan Edge's top women and basically says, we're sorry we couldn't, you didn't accept our offer. And this is where Kyle realizes that Lana lied to him, that he could have got the job if he wanted to, but Lana's trying to protect him from something, causing some tension in there. And because of that scene, we see that he doesn't make it to the talent show auditions to help his daughter. So she's nervous, not knowing what to do. So who comes to the rescue but Jordan? And Jordan steps in to play the piano. Pretty okay. Not great, but pretty okay. And Sarah sings her song. Look, it's the CW. At some point, one of the lead characters was bound to sing. It just happens in all of them. Even The Flash did it. Even Supergirl did it. Riverdale does it every other day. It makes sense to me. It would happen. I'm not complaining. She's a pretty solid singer. If that was really the actress, I don't know. But it worked well. It was a great moment for both of them because you see they are both helping each other out of their funk, which is a really nice thing to see for both of these characters who need it. And I like that a lot. So those are some great stories. The Clark stuff, so good and powerful. The fight scene of him, the kind of built Kryptonian, proving that Steel is correct and that these Kryptonians are coming to this world to take it down. That stuff was great. That fight scene with the Kryptonite mist was great. Jordan and Sarah coming to help each other through their anxiety was great. But this episode was dedicated to two people, Lois and Jonathan. So they went to investigate the RV. This is where they learn that Steel was married to a version of Lois, and it affects them both in different ways. First off, Lois sees her daughter from another world, and it is affecting her in that, okay, that's not good. She's trying to deal with it. She can't really comprehend everything. It's affecting her in a lot of ways. The name Natalie sticks out to her because of it. And because of this, Jonathan's I need to know more about this. So he goes into the RV alone, seeing there's the sister I never had. And then when he goes in, he gets kind of trapped inside because, of course, the authorization doesn't allow him in. And he's going to die from some lasers. But at the very last second, Clark comes in to save him. And this is where I'm just okay, Elizabeth Tulloch, you really proved yourself here to be some of the best when it comes to our Lois Lanes. Just the scolding that she gives to Jonathan after that, and the way, I can't remember the actor that plays Jonathan, but the way they play off each other is so good. And you just hear it from both perspectives. Clark's we shouldn't be so hard on him. I understand where he's coming from. Lois does too, but she's you could have died because you were stupid and reckless and you didn't listen to me. And she is literally screaming at him to the point where Jonathan is in tears. And I'm whoa, calm down, Lois. What is this about? And Jonathan's comeback is I'm the only person in this family who has no superpower, no special ability. There's nothing about me that sticks out from anyone else. I wanted a weapon. I wanted to find a way that I could actually do something and be useful in this family. And maybe it almost got me killed, but I'm sorry. If you were late by a second, Dad, I'd be dead. And I was just whoa, okay. This is the CW, but you're playing with a lot of adult themes here. I love it. It's intense because you get both sides of the argument. You're with Jonathan, and then you're with Lois. I'm that's great. So, dealing with all this stuff, Lois is still not feeling herself. That's when we go to the therapist, and that's when we learn the person she was talking to her therapist about was Jonathan, because she doesn't think Jonathan is going to want to listen or talk to her again after these events. And we realize that maybe Lois had such a strong reaction to what happened with Jonathan, where he almost died, because of her miscarriage. And I am what? That's, I wasn't expecting you to go this way. And then we learned that Lois miscarried and that they were going to name the daughter Natalie. And you just see something happened. The baby didn't exist anymore. And that Lois blames herself, and then she's I buried myself in my work, I tried to do everything right, but it didn't happen, and she blames herself, not realizing that, well, maybe she does realize, but she just still blames herself because this shouldn't happen. It didn't happen with my twins, but it happened here. She feels immense guilt, and now that she has this over-attachment that she can't lose another child, or she's going to break down. I love this scene, because this is a side of Lois we rarely see. And there's a reason for it. Lois is supposed to be like the hard-edged person who's always comfortable in every situation. But the fact we see her break down here, that she's like, I lost my child. You can't tell me it was just biological. It's still my body. It was still my biological needs and things that happened to me that made my child miscarry. Like, I am responsible for that. And I would have been responsible for my son Jonathan dying if it wasn't for our husband to step in. I'm like, Lois, stop. She's literally crying. And I'm like, this is good. This is really intense and scary and real. And I really just felt for her in that moment. And you know what? Not everybody is good at doing like the fake crying acting. And Elizabeth is fine. I really think she did pretty good. There's some moments where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what she's like when she's actually crying. So I can't say for certain if it was good or bad. But I'm just like, what a added depth to this field, so that when, you know, Sam finds out and Clark finds out that the child on the other Earth was named Natalie, about the baby that she miscarried, it adds to them like, we shouldn't have Lois involved in this situation, but she has to come in and stop Steele from literally killing Clark. And I'm like, oh, this is a Lois Lane story. This is how you do it well. It was so good and intense. I really, really loved it. Oh, it was so tragic, and I'm just like, you really are playing up the name Superman and Lois, because if any other like show, I'm going to say even from like the early 2000s, it would just be about Superman, but you're giving Lois so much to do, and it's so interesting and intense. I really just love what she went through here, and you felt for her every step of the way. It was so good. It was perfectly acted, perfectly executed. I loved seeing that stuff. So then she confronts Jonathan about it, just saying like, when you guys were 18 months old, your father and I were having another child, but I miscarried, and the thought of losing another kid, I couldn't deal with it. She can't even get through the words. Jonathan can't even let her finish. He's crying. She's crying. They embrace and hug, and everything is forgiven. Jonathan realizes the mistakes he's made. That's good. That is such a realistic moment where it's just like, again, a lesser creative team on this project would have easily have just said, everyone's just going to say the words, then we're going to have the beat. But it's like, we are struggling to get the words out. Lois can't say them. Jonathan is instantly reacting, knowing he messed up, knowing he did something bad to affect his mom. And he is just like, okay, I'm sorry for everything. I get it. I'm so sorry for you, for everything you had to go through. And I'm sorry for what I did to you. And they embrace. And I'm just like, that is how you resolve this conflict, because it is intense and gripping and emotional, and it hurts. And I'm just so happy that a Superman show went this way. Oh, that was probably like a few weeks ago when Clark puts out his hand to let Jordan rage fill up with the laser blast. This equals that moment for the other two. I think this is a great representation of just a mother and son relationship on screen, and it just made me feel so emotional. Like, I came close to tearing up. I'm like, this is it, guys. Oh, that was so good. They let Steele go. John Henry Irons is a free man, setting up he's probably going to come back at some point in the future, the season finale maybe, to help Clark fight the Kryptonians. He's going to be wielding his maybe steel armor. That'd be pretty cool to see. Really solid episode. Like, everybody had their emotional payoff. Everybody had their conflicts resolved with the person they were conflicting with. Sam and Clark, Sarah and Jordan, Lois and Jonathan. It all worked. You balanced a lot of stuff in this episode, and you made it work. I am super impressed with what they did here. I'm literally just, I'm stuttering again because it's so good. This is it. This is everything I've wanted for Superman on television, and then some, because it went in ways I wasn't expecting. This is not your grandfather's Superman story. This isn't some Golden Age fun. It's Golden Age enough, but it's also pretty emotionally intense and going in areas not a normal Superman story would. So, wow. You sold me. Best episode of the show yet. Easily the best episode. So thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.